Hey, Tiddly. Okay, as always, I need to recenter and remember where we were. Ah, okay. The True Family Conference. Got it. Remembered. Right. Let go. Hey, Bea. Hey, Tezo. Alright. Battler did nothing but gaze lazily out the window. The fighting between the relatives continued without end. At first, the relatives had crowded around the study. However, no matter how much they knocked, the master of the study did not answer even once. Eva and several others said that they should open the door with the second key, the one Genji held. However, in a flash of brilliance, Natsuhi said that Kinzo had been in a particularly bad mood and had taken back the key he'd previously given Genji, meaning that he now had both keys himself. She claimed that it was therefore impossible for them to open the door. What was the wording there? A flash of brilliance? Oh god. After she promised to let them meet Kinzo tomorrow morning no matter what, they finally returned to the dining hall. But of course the argument continued on even after they returned there. Hey, Moth-chan. Eva's group wanted a lot of cash very soon, and they were trying to threaten Kraus somehow and make him pay up. Hey, Super Pepper. Apparently, Battler's solving of the epitaph, which threatened Kraus's position as the next head, had given the others a huge tailwind. Aww, thank you so much for doing something. That's a huge amount of months. Hi. On the other side, Kraus and Natsuhi denied the very basis of their argument, claiming that it had never been specified that ownership of the gold would be handed over to the person who solved the epitaph. They asserted that it hadn't been hidden gold, but just Kinzo's stockpile, and it was still Kinzo's property, which meant it was only natural for it to be distributed after Kinzo's death with the rest of the inheritance. Cool. After hearing this, Eva's group once again started demanding that they be allowed to see Kinzo. It had probably been clear as day from the beginning. This sibling fight could only be settled by Kinzo. It was obvious that this confrontation was between Eva's group, which wanted cash fast, and Kraus, who was hiding his lack of funds but still didn't need money right away. As Battler listened vaguely to this exchange, he marveled at how, despite their usual affluent airs, they were all surprisingly deep in debt.
それもさっき聞いた話ではないかね。もういい。休止しよう。お互い一度した話を延々と繰り返しているだけだ。
According to the clock, it was almost midnight. It certainly was the perfect time for a break. The atmosphere relaxed just a bit.
同感や。お互い一服するのも悪くないで。ほな以後は議事を取りながらにせんか。言った言わないはもうごめんや。
まったくだわ。下の根も乾かないうちにそんなことは言ってないなんて。平気で言い出す兄さんとの会議に議事録は必須だものね。
文字じゃ書くのも手間だし、インチキだっていくらでもできるわ。
そうだな、兄貴。こいつは動くのか。
オーディオセットかね。なるほど。それならば議事を手書きせずに済むし、捏造もできんね。互いにとって公平だ。
勝手にいじらないように。当主様の大切な音楽テープですよ。
The dignified tape set had a sense of weight to it which matched this majestic dining hall perfectly. On pleasant Sunday mornings, it would sometimes be used to play famous tapes or records. However, right now, it was the most neutral and impartial conference record keeper around. Rudolph finished randomly around the cassette rack. Sorry, not finished. He fished randomly around the cassette rack, searching for a blank tape. And every time he found some tape with sophisticated music, he would chuckle at how pompous it was.
休憩することになったの。申し訳ないんだけど、何か飲み物を用意してもらえないかしら。ビスケットみたいなものがあってもいいかもね。
かしこまりました。すぐにご用意いたします。
あと、ごめんなさい。風邪薬あるかしら。さっきから熱っぽくて。
なら無理は良くないな。休みたまえ。
ローザがいいと思うなら好きに休めば。私ならこの大事な会議中に風邪くらいじゃ休まないけどね。
そうかね。私は遠慮なく休ませてもらうよ。夏日、私たちも少し休まないかね。
はい、あなた。
Sensing that he meant to have a strategy meeting, Natsuhi stood up. Yeah. I'm not really in a suit, but okay. It is a little bit more elegant than what I usually wear, I'll give it that. Even if that wasn't the case, she was so desperate to get out of the room, even for a moment, that she'd have taken any excuse. Kraus and Natsuhi left the dining hall, and the tension in the room truly relaxed. Dressed up for the family conference, I actually didn't know to think of this. But sure, I guess it works out.
バトラ君もお疲れ様。最悪の気分でしょ。大人の階段だと思って諦めて。
俺はいつまでここでボサーっとしてりゃいいんすかね。
さあ、バトラ君は私たちのおみこしだからね。眠い？
古典の授業程度には。
今夜はどうせお父さんは現れないでしょう。クラウス兄さんたちが戻ってきたら、バトラ君はもう戻っていいかと提案してみるわ。
よろしく頼んます。
A light knock and the faint sound of china clinking together could be heard.
失礼します。お茶をお持ちいたしました。
Shannon and Kanon had come by with the serving cart. The pleasant smell of black tea relieved their tension all the more.
よ、話は聞いてるか？
何のお話でしょうか？
僕たちは何も。
よしなさい、ルドルフ。教える必要は何もないわ。
僕たちは家具ですから、親族会議のお話には関心ありません。
そうね。それが賢い返事だわ。
深夜勤なの？大変ね。
そういうお役目ですので、ご用命いただけて嬉しいです。
そうかもしれんな。することもなくぼんやり起きてる方がしんどいもんや。わしも下積み時代に倉庫番とかやったことあるんやけどな。ただ起きてるだけでもこれがとにかく辛いんや。戦争直後はな、物資泥棒とかゾロゾロおってな、警察も頼れん時代で、とにかく物騒でな。
Hideyoshi was particularly proud of how he had started with nothing and built up assets by diverting goods from the American army. Once the subject came up, Hideyoshi tended to get pretty talkative. The relatives knew this and were greatly relieved to see that the perfect sacrifice had come up.
バレたら一大事や。アメさんは怖いで。牛肉食っとるからパワーも桁違いや。捕まったら最後銃殺刑かデスバイハンギングや。わかるか？デスバイハンギング。それでな、わしは思うたんや。肉や肉や。 日本人はもっと肉を食わなあかん。そしてわしは胃袋をつかむ商売を始めなあかんという典型を受けたんや。
Okay.
それは、大変なお仕事ですね。
Death by hanging. I don't know, English sounds so weird in said by Hideyoshi. Maybe because of his accent, like it sounds otherworldly when English comes out of that. Yeah, it's cool. It's one of the parts that like makes him really cool.
よしなさいよあなた。戦後生まれにいくら話しても当時の苦労なんか伝わらないわよ。
ん？またわしの悪い癖が出てしもうたな。すまん。
あなたたちもお茶をしていきなさいよ。たまには自分たちがどういう紅茶を入れてるか、その下で学ぶのもいい勉強になると思うわ。
いえ、結構です。お気遣いなく。
少し付き合ってくれよ。大人ばかりで俺も窒息しそうなんだ。
Oh, poor Pandler.
そら、次期当主のバトラ様のご命令だぞ。そこに座って俺たちとしばらくお茶しろい。それで最近の出来事とか趣味とか見てるテレビとか若者の今の流行りとかそういう話をしやがれ。俺たちの勉強になるからな。
明暗ね。ほら、二人とも座って。
Why do I have a bad feeling about this?
そして話題に飢えた私たちの生贄になってちょうだい。
そうやな。若い子と話をしよう思たらキャバクラでもいかんとこの年では難しいわ。
いつまでぼさっと突っ立ってんのよ。ルドルフが座れと命令したわ。座りなさいよ。私も許可してあげるわ。
Yes, I don't understand where this is going. Of all of them, I think Eva would have been my last on the list of people who are gonna invite the servants to sit down and have tea with them. So, I'm distrustful of everything. After getting Eva's permission, Shannon and Canon looked at each other and finally obeyed, nervously. For a while, the two were pounded by questions and became the relatives' playthings. Weird way to phrase it, but okay. Another reserved knock could be heard. All of the servants tended to knock in a similar manner, so no one noticed anything strange. However, Shannon and Canon turned around with surprised looks on their faces. The servants here today included the two of them, Genji, Kumasawa, and Goda. Goda had the midnight shift at the guest house. Kumasawa had gone to bed in the servants' quarters in the guest house. And they were in here, so Genji was the only person left. But they knew very well that Genji wouldn't knock like that.
誰だ？開いてるぜ。勝手に入れよ。
Rudolph didn't recognize the knock either. And when he asked who is it, everyone came to the same realization that they too had no idea who would knock like that. After that, the same knock repeated just once more. Could it be that someone had their hands full and was asking that the door be opened for them? And the wind is blowing, and the screen is black. Yeah, okay, we all know where this is going. And the clock is striking midnight. As a slightly odd feeling began to encompass the room, the sound of the large clock in the hall could be heard. It was the sign that October 4th had ended and October 5th had begun. Oh god. Oh god. A short while earlier. Yes, thank you. Great, fantastic. Midnight, both 24 hours and 0 hours. Yep. Kraus and Natsuki were well away from the dining hall in a deserted corridor on the second
も
floor.
うそれしか手はないのかね。
はい。明日一日同じ手はもはや通用しないでしょう。これ以上を渋ればエヴァさんたちはお父様を監禁しているなどと主張して警察に訴える可能性さえあります。もうこれが限界です。バトラ君が黄金を発見するのが全く想定外でした。あれさえなければなんとかうまくやりくりできる筋書きを考えていたのですが。
I have a lot of thoughts about that phrase. If only this hadn't happened, if only that hadn't happened, if only it wasn't for those pesky, meddling kids, we would have gotten away with it. Yeah.
私がかけるといつもこうだな。いつも想定外のことが起き、絶対確実だった話がおかしくなる。
Something unexpected. The thing is, the issue is that you're doing something incredibly bad and risky. And there's no way that you can have confidence in any plan to work just by the nature of the thing that you are doing. You cannot make it proof. You cannot proof it against absolutely any possible scenario because there's just too many people around, too many variables, too many things that can happen that you have no control of. So you should have expected that the unexpected. Everything's gonna be okay? Yeah. It's just... If only it hadn't been for this one thing, everything would have worked fine. If only you hadn't been hiding a dead person for over a year. How about that?
明日の朝、お父様の部屋が空っぽであるということにします。
It worked last year, yeah, sure.
源氏と口裏を合わせ、早朝に森へ出かけていくのを見たと言わせましょう。
その失踪をエヴァたちが素直に受け入れるとは思えん。
客も承知です。しかしもうそれしか手がありません。
そのようなことをすればエヴァたちは疑わしいと騒ぎ立てるだろう。エヴァたちは金をせしめるためならなりふりなど構うまい。それこそおかしな雑誌とつるんで私の信用にダメージを与えてくるかもしれない。
ダメージで済むではありませんか。万一にもお父様の秘密を知られたらそれどころでは済みません。
明日一日をギリギリまで粘ってからでも遅くはない。もしも明日を無事に乗り切ることができれば私たちは何も失うものはないのだ。焦って失踪という切り札を切る必要はない。
彼らがお父様を監禁していると騒ぎ立て、そこに失踪していたと返すのですか。その方がはるかに疑いを招きます。もうお父様にお休みいただきましょう。これ以上は無理です。
落ち着きたまえ。エヴァたちの毒気を浴びすぎて冷静を失っただけだ。あの書斎に入る鍵は2本しかない。そしてその2本はここに。だから誰も入ることなどできん。あの扉は特別性だ。彼らが倉庫からどんな工具を持ってこようともびくともせんよ。
そういう物理的な問題ではありませ
ん。だから焦るな。落ち着け。なんなら君は熱を出したことにして寝込んでいてくれればいい。その間に私が全て乗り切ってみせる。
あなただけに任せられません。私も最後まで戦います。
When Natsuki could no longer hold back the tears brought on by her fierce emotions, Klaus held her gently. Just how long had it been since she had last felt warmth from her husband's embrace?
頭痛がひどいのだろう?
The worst part about it is that, at least from where I'm standing, he's being manipulative with it because he just wants her to calm down.
君がそういうシワを眉間に浮かべるときはいつもそうだ。
あなた。
She had come to think that her husband could never understand the way she felt. But when it came to times like this,
失踪という切り札は最後の最後まで待とう。殿下の報道と同じだよ。抜かないうちが花だ。大事なのはいつでも抜けるという心構えではないかね。
それは分かっています。
その切り札を私に預けてくれんかね。もちろん最後の瞬間の責任は全て私が取る。君とジェシカは巻き込まん。
それはどういう意味ですか？
後ろ宮家が滅ぶ時、その瓦礫に潰されるのは私だけで十分だ。台風が過ぎたら離婚届を準備しよう。それに捺印し君に預けておく。内緒で君の名義にしてある財産がある。さらにそれに慰謝料を加えれば君とジェシカは不自由なく暮らせるはずだ。
嫌です。私の墓碑に刻むべき名は後宮夏日です。どうか最後の瞬間までご一緒に。たとえあなたが後宮家最後の当主であろうとも、夏日を最後までどうか当主夫人で、あなたの妻で。
Krause's existence was based solely upon the power of his assets and his trustworthiness as a financial fixer. If those were both undermined, nothing would remain. Using the trump card of Kinzo's disappearance would mean losing one of those two essential supports. It was like offering your right arm to save your head from being cut off. It was probably better than losing your head, but you still might die from the blood loss, and even on the off chance that you did survive, you would have to bear a heavy wound that wouldn't heal for the rest of your life. Krause was prepared even for death. Natsuhi understood this, buried her face in Krause's chest, and cried.
お取り込み中、失礼いたします。
Genji's sudden voice made Natsuhi jump back and hurriedly wipe the tears from her eyes. Krause stood in front of Natsuhi, shielding her.
源氏さんか。驚かせないでくれたまえ。何か用かね？
はい。申し訳ございませんが、奥様にご報告が。
私にですか？あなた。
構わんよ。
Krause left Natsuhi's side, went to a window a short way off, and gazed at the windy and rainy rose garden. At least he's got that going for him, I suppose. He can't be all negatives. Yeah. At least there's that, I guess. Natsuhi went with Genji to a place a short distance away.
何事ですか？
はい。実はまた奥様にお電話が。
And the music and the creepiness. Thank you very much. At that moment, she was surprised by a sudden eerie sound. It was the large clock in the hall announcing midnight.
まさか、またあの男なのですか？
はい。いかがいたしましょう。
要件は何だと言っていますか？
お答えいただけません。奥様と直接お話ししたいとの一点張りでございます。「
Again, a phone call from the man who claimed to be taking revenge for what had happened 19 years ago. 19 years ago. That was just 1 year before Jessica and Badler were born. In Natsuhi's eyes, the gap between 19 years ago and 18 years ago was immense. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, Patch Face Bees, how are you? The plot thickens, doesn't it always? For a long time, she was unable to fulfill her role of creating a successor for the Oshiromiya family and was treated very coldly. But then she finally gave birth to Jessica and became able to call herself the wife to the Oshiromiya successor with her head held high. So in her eyes, Oshiromiya Natsuhi began 18 years ago. So everything before that, including 19 years ago, contained nothing but hateful memories. Trying to wrap my head around that is just so sad. Only being able to define yourself starting at the moment when you were able to provide a child. It's just... The last year of that hateful period was whispering of revenge from the other end of the phone. Once again, she heard the roar of the sea.
いかがなさいますか。
私の部屋に転送しなさい。主人には内密に。
かしこまりました。
From the very beginning, Genji had understood that she wouldn't want Kraus hearing about this phone call. That was why he had told Natsuhi covertly. Natsuhi ordered that he transfer the call, told Kraus that she would turn in for the night, and left at a quick pace. She returned to her room and locked the door. There's nothing peculiar about that. In the Oshiromiya family, hallways are like public roads. There's no special meaning in locking the door when you enter your own room. This is what she told herself. Then, as though he had been waiting for her, the telephone rang. Genji must have transferred the call. She took a deep breath, readied herself, and picked up the receiver. Again, it started with silence. She realized that the person on the other end was trying to keep her in suspense and make her feel uncomfortable. And she got angry.
どうして黙っているのですか。切ります。
切るなよ、母さん。もう少し声を聞いていたいんだからさ。
Yeah, it seems so, yeah. Again, that unpleasant voice.
私を愚弄する気ですか。要件を追いなさい。
母さんと遊びたい。
何を言っているんですか、あなたは。私はあなたとなど遊びたくありません。
親族会議で疲れたんだろ。持病の頭痛がだいぶ辛いんじゃないかい。
余計なお世話です。
Just the fact that he knew her headache was troubling her made a shiver run up her spine.
頭痛になるのは頭が凝ってるからだ。そのままベッドに入ったっていい夢は見られないよ。
だから余計なお世話だと言っています。切りますよ。
Natsuhi forcefully yelled that she was hanging up, but in actuality she couldn't. After all, this person was choosing to call her, and that was much better than the alternative. If she hung up violently, this person might choose to call someone else.
頭のこりをほぐすためにちょっとだけ遊ぼうよ。何、時間は取らせない。
あなたと遊ぶ気などありません。
母さんの名前はナッチ。名前に季節を持ってるね。いい名前だ。でもナッチだからって夏が好きとは限らない。母さんが本当に好きな季節はなんだ。
それをあなたに教えると思いますか？
教えてくれないなら俺が切るよ。いいのかい？
It was clearly a threat. It meant that if she forced him to hang up the phone, anything might happen. Humiliated that she was forced to give in to a threat made by a man whose name she didn't even know, she gave him the answer he wanted.
秋です。
どうして？
過ごしやすい季節だからです。他に特に理由はありません。
I don't know if the question has any deeper meaning. Are you actually just asking what our favorite season is?
これで満足ですか？
ああ、満足だ。やっぱり母さんの好きな季節は俺と同じだったけど、俺も秋が好きなんだ。
I do not like that laughter in Battler's voice, please.
嘘つき。出ばかせを言うんじゃありません。
This man would no doubt have done the same thing no matter which season I said I liked. What is he after? What's so fun about making me uncomfortable like
嘘
this?
つきなんてひどいな。任せなんかじゃない。
Oh, come on, Deso. We all can recognize Daisuke Ono. Come on. I recognized him from just this first sigh on the phone, okay? I have spent way too much time with his voice in my ears to not recognize it. And now, I'm not saying that it has to be the same battler that is supposed to be downstairs with everybody else. I don't know what the heck the novel is trying to do with this. And it has been a thing before for an actor or actress to play some other parts in the same visual novel where they have a big part. I don't know what this is, but it is Battler's voice in my view, okay? I will forever hear his voice as Battler's voice, and it bothers me. I have a Battler radar, I do. I guess I do. I will hear Battler in every single one of his roles from now on. Like, even if what he's doing is different from Battler's voice, I will still hear just a little bit. Yeah, sure, of course. That's why I'm saying I'm not pronouncing myself in terms of who this is or what the heck is happening. But it is the same voice actor, right? So, that is that.
俺は母さんが秋が好きだって確信してたよ。
Am I making you uncomfortable?
証拠を見せて。
証拠？
ああ。
And an angel radar. Okay, cool. That's cool. Super cool.
母さんの部屋に時計はあるかい？
時計？ええ、ありますが、それが何か。
Oh man. In Natsuhi's room, there was a beautiful antique clock with an intricate design. Kraus had bought it for her as a birthday present long ago.
今は0時7分ですね。もう眠いので、茶番を早く終わらせなさい。
その時計、持ち上げてみてよ。
どうしてです？い
ちいちうるせえな。俺の言うことにお前は歯向かうんじゃない。黙って言われた通りにすればいい。
The tone of the man's voice suddenly went low, turning into a threat. It indicated clear displeasure. Outwardly, this man had a calm manner of speaking, but on the inside, things were completely different. If she angered this man even the slightest bit further, he would surely show his true nature right away.
そんなに電話を切られたい。こうしてあんたに電話をしてるうちが花なんだね。あんたが19年前にしたことを 俺はいつだってあんたの旦那や娘に話すことができる。
あなたが何の話をしているか知りませんが、夫や娘を巻き込まないでください。こうして私が電話を聞いていますから。なら
言われた通りにしやがるって。
Once again, the man threatened me in a low voice, as though warning me never to talk back to him again. My head was filled with the pain from a headache, the sound of my beating heart, and the roar of the sea. I couldn't disobey him anymore. As the man had ordered, I lifted up the antique clock. There lay something that resembled a single playing card. Perhaps it was the warranty for the clock? Thinking this, she took it and turned it over.
眠気冷めたかい？
どうしてこんな。
あんたの頭痛が少しは引いたなら嬉しいんだけどな。嬉しいって言ってよ。
どうやってこれを、どうして、どうやって。
嬉しいですって言ってほしいな、この人殺しめ。よくも潔癖な奥様面ができるもんだぜ、ヘドがね。そのヘド、あんたの夫や娘にもぶちまけられたいね。嫌だろう。黙っててほしいだろ。ああ、黙っててやるよ。ほら、嬉しいだろ。嬉しいだろ。
嬉しいです。嬉しいです。だからやめて。夫と娘に構わないで。何が要求ですか？お金ですか？いくらですか？
金なんか欲しくないよ。俺の傷は金をいくらつったって癒せない。だが薬ならそうだ、それは軟膏みたい。ねっとりドロドロ糸を引く。それはあんたへ俺の恨み、縁。そいつを塗ってるしか痛みが抑えられないんだよ。
Natsuki had never had anything so hateful said to her in her entire life. So she suspected many times that she must be having some sort of bad dream. Hey, Tostators. Oh, sorry to hear you're still sick. I hope it passes. Thank you so much for checking out the stream. No. Take care of yourself. So she suspected many times that she must be having some sort of bad dream. However, this definitely wasn't a dream.
あなたはまさかこの島にいるのですか？
うん。約束しただろ。親族会議には出るって。
不可能です。この台風では来られるわけもありません。
台風になる前から来てれば問題はないよ。それに台風の最中であってもエリカとかいう来客があったはずだ。
Her blood froze. Furudo Erika had been brought here by coincidence. If he knew that name, he would have to be very close by.
あなたはどこに？
あんたの紹介がないうちは誰の前にも現れないさ。安心しな。おっと、俺を探しても無駄だよ。あんたの屋敷は広い。電話だってそこいら中にあるしな。あんただって俺に会いたくないだろ。それとも俺を見つけ出してみんなに紹介してくれるの？ジェシカにも紹介してくれよ。一つ上の兄です。
やめて！ジェシカに構わないで！
怖がらせすぎたかな。今夜はこれで勘弁してやるよ。だが忘れるな。
Yes, Petri Beast. Today's tea, it's actually red tea with strawberry and rose, and a small teaspoon of raspberry honey. It's very nice. Red tea, yes, yes.
あんたは俺に逆らえないんだ。わかってるな、母さん。今夜はこれで電話を切るが、明日の朝まで命令がある。
I have no idea. I don't know how this can fit in with the way things have been framed for so far, that she couldn't have kids until she managed to have Jessica. But somehow she did have a kid. But how and why? I don't know what this means. I can imagine a slew of soap opera-like scenarios. It doesn't feel right. I don't know. So I'm just letting it play out.
その部屋を出てはならないし、どこにも電話をかけてはならない。電話がかかってきても取ることも許さねえぜ。そして今すぐ明かりを消し、布団をかぶって寝ろ。そしていつもの時間に起床しろ。
But the thing is, if this is all bollocks and nothing happened, why does he have this immense hold over her? She doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would allow a total stranger, or someone who is just completely off their rocker and doesn't know what they're talking about, to tell her what to do. She would allow Kinzo, she would allow Kraus to tell her and order her around. But that's different. I feel like she would have a lot more pride and a stronger sense of self than to allow herself to be bossed around like this, and yet she's allowing it, so... And there's the laughter again.
健康的な生活でいいな。母さんの体をいたわるなんて。本当に俺は親孝行者だよ。
わかりました。今すぐ寝ます。部屋も出ません。電話も出ません。だから夫と娘には。
母さんが俺の命令を守る限り、あんたの秘密は守ってやるよ。命令を破るなよ。俺はもうお前のすぐ近くにいる。部屋の明かりが消えるかどうか、そして電話をしているかどうかさえ。
That is creepy as all heck.
俺には俺さえ望むなら、あんたの寝顔にキスすることだってできるんだからな。
守ります。約束は守ります。だからやめて。もうやめて。やめて。
As she screamed, Natsuki crushed the card she had found under the clock into a little ball. It had a pattern on it like a tarot card, along with one single word: autumn. You knew what was up about the season question because you had read that exact same thing in a different novel once? Oh, interesting. I have no idea what that means. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely traumatic. We go back in time once again, oh lord. The large clock in the hall was right in the middle of striking midnight, wondering who the person who had now knocked twice was. The relatives in the dining hall stared at the door. Rudolph told them to come in, but there was no answer. Until the end of that long tone marking the coming of midnight, which had come from the large clock in the hall shortly after the knock, they were unable to move in the slightest.
手が塞がってて開けられないんじゃないのか。
かもな。だが名乗らねえってのが薄気味悪いな。
開けますか。
開けなさい。
Kano nodded back, then slowly opened the door.
これは、親父の封筒？
Right behind the opened door on the floor of the hallway lay the envelope.
廊下には誰もいません。これを置いて立ち去ったのでしょうか。
The adults flew out into the corridor as well, but they could find no trace of anyone who might have knocked on the door. Barely an hour ago, Shannon and Kanon had come in to serve tea. At that time, everyone had seen that nothing lay in that spot. Someone came, knocked, left an envelope with the mark of the one-winged eagle on it, and left.
まさか、親方様でしょうか。
考えられない話じゃないわ。この屋敷で誰と呼ばれて返事をしないのはお父様くらいだもの。
ありえないわ。ならどうしてお父様は堂々と入ってこないの？
そうやな。お父さんだったらノックなどせずいきなり入ってくるやろな。今この屋敷は戸締まりがされとるんやろ。ならここに手紙を置くことができるんはクラウスさんか夏日さん、そして源氏さんの誰かしか考えられんで。
By this point, the mansion had been completely locked up. Therefore, those in the guest house, the cousins Nanjo, Goda, Kumasawa, and Erika, could not have come here. Furthermore, since Kraus, Natsuki, and Genji were the only three who weren't in this room, one of those three had to have been the one who set that letter down in the corridor. In that case, it was very likely that Kraus and the others had placed the letter there to make it seem like a message from Kinzo.
なるほどね。お父様の名を語ってバトラ君を次期当主に認めないみたいなことが書いてあるのよ。バカバカしい。兄さんめ、よくもこんな子供騙しを。
別に俺は次期当主なんて興味ねえぜ。
諦めろ。それがお前の運命なんだよ。とにかく中身を読んでみようじゃねえか。
Oh my lord. Rudolph set the letter on the dining hall table and showed everyone the front and the back. Almost like a
この封
magician.
筒は間違いなくお父様の封筒なの？
I pressed too fast. Almost like a magician does before performing his act to show that there are no tricks or hidden mechanisms.
諦めろ。
Sorry. Right, so...
ええ、間違いないわ。お父様が新書に好んで使う封筒よ。どう、シャノンちゃん。
はい、私の目にも親方様が使われる封筒に見えます。
だからってお父様が書いたってことにはならないわよ。兄さんならお父様の書斎の引き出しからひょいと手に入れることなんて造作もない話だわ。
クラウス様とて容易に書斎には入れません。封筒を盗み出すなど難しいことかと。
開けてみようぜ。それから考えても遅くないはずだ。何か入ってるな。なんだろうな。
Rudolph opened the envelope a bit roughly. Then, a folded letter, and a glittering object fell out. It was a ring. Oh, man. I hadn't heard that one with the seagull before. Eva noticed it immediately and grabbed it.
これお父様の指輪よ。当主の指輪だわ。
なんやて？ほんまか？
間違いなくお父様の指輪なの？レプリカということは？
これは本物よ。私はいつかこの指輪を自分の指に通してやるとお父様が指にしてた時から私は誰よりもこの指輪のことをよく知ってるわ。これはお父様の指輪よ、間違いなく。どうしてここに？
じゃあやっぱりこの手紙はお父様が。
Doesn't he seal the envelopes with the ring? If the ring is in the envelope, what sealed the envelope?
こりゃ差出人は親父じゃねえぞ。もっと面白い。
じゃあ誰からの手紙だって。
Magic. Instead of the locked room, it's the sealed envelope.
後ろ宮家顧問錬金術師黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェ様からだぜ。
Rudolph showed everyone the part of the letter where that was written. It really did say that.
ベアトリーチェから
なんて書いてある？
読むぞ。コングラッチュレーションズ。バトラ様が碑文の謎を見事に解かれ黄金鏡にたどり着きましたことを認めます。黄金はすべてバトラ様のものです。そして後宮家の新しき当主もバトラ様です。その証として金蔵様よりお預かりしている当主の指輪をお送りします。どうぞバトラ様、指輪をされて新しい黄金の主となり、どうか後宮家をお導きください。新しき当主のご活躍を心よりお祈りいたしております。なんてこった。親父が書斎から出てこねえもんだから森の魔女ベアトリーチェが直接バトラを認めてくれたわけだ。
I'm surprised how Rudolph is jumping onto the story weaving behind us so easily. Or he's mocking it.
バトラ君、この指輪はあなたが持つのよ。これは当主が身につけるべき特別な指輪。ベアトリーチェが何者か知らないけれど、彼女は一部始終を見届け、あなたが真の跡継ぎだと認めてこの指輪を送ったのよ。
いいんすか、こんな重要な指輪を。
I guess.
ああ、いいんだ。誇らしげに指にはめるといい。いいか、兄貴や夏日さんが外せと言っても絶対に外すんじゃねえぞ。
Great. With creepy smiles on their faces, all of the relatives urged Battler to put the ring on his finger. It looked like things would get pretty nasty if he refused, so Battler reluctantly decided to put it on the middle finger of his left hand. The ring was heavy and stiff. At that moment, Klaus returned. Genji came back as well immediately afterwards.
申し訳ないね。妻は具合が悪そうだったので先に休ませてもらった。
Sign, I mean put on the ring. Ay, ay, ay.
何かあったのかね。なんだか諸君がひどく慌ただしいようだ。
バトラ様、それは。
Immediately, Genji keenly spotted the ring that Battler had just put on his finger.
さすが源氏さんや。お目が高い。これが誰の指輪かわかるようやな。
何の話だね。
From Klaus's questioning look, it was very difficult to imagine that he could have been the one who set that letter there. Furthermore, his expression quickly changed into one of shock.
そうよ、後宮家当主の指輪よ。
The family conference took up this new topic, and the storm came once again. The rain was still pouring down as hard as ever. This weather was supposed to continue all day tomorrow as well, which was making me feel a bit depressed. Oh, wait, given the time, that's today, not tomorrow. But that doesn't really matter now. I'm sleepy. With half-asleep eyes, I opened my umbrella. The large drops of rain pounded against it mercilessly. Technically, they had called an end to the family conference at 1 a.m., but the post-match scuffles were still dragging on. I was really jealous of Auntie Rosa, who managed to slip out of there at that time. She cleverly got away by saying that she'd check on Maria, who might have been staying up too late. Thanks to Dad constantly involving me, I missed my chance to escape, and they made me stick around until now, 3 AM. What on earth did they spend all that time deciding? Nothing got decided at all. They just kept on arguing about who said what, like elementary school kids. They must be tired too. I'm sure that's why they keep dragging on with the same pointless questions. I no longer felt any shock or anger towards them. I guess no painkiller works better than drowsiness. I left them behind and finally returned to the guest house. When I returned to the guest house, the lights were on in the lounge downstairs. Not only that, I could even hear people chatting inside. Apparently some people were still awake even at this time of night. Despite the late hour, Goda-san and Dr. Nanjo were still awake and chatting. Plates and cups were lined up on the counter, and it looked almost like a bar with Goda-san as the bartender. After noticing I'd come back, it looked as though Dr. Nanjo finally realized how late it was. As Goda-san made to top off his glass, he declined with an exaggerated gesture.
もう結構です。この時間では夜更かしのしすぎだ。
もうこんな時間とは。南條先生があまりにお話がお上手なもので、ついつい。
それを言ったらあんたの酒の魚のおかげだ。また別の機会に一杯やりましょう。
喜んで。バトラ様、お帰りなさいませ。まだ旦那様方の会議は続いておりますか？
あの調子でグダグダと明け方までやるんだろうぜ。知ったことじゃねえぜ。
I spoke carelessly with a big yawn.
皆さん、案外体力が終わりですね。びっくりです。
なんだ、お前までいたのか。
なんとなく流れでこちらでささやかな夜会が始まったもので混ぜてもらっていました。例のことは話してませんのでご安心を。
Erika could be seen on the sofa. She had taken her shoes off and was lounging around as though she owned the place.
エリカ様も本当にいろいろなお話をご存知で、とても楽しく聞かせていただきました。
あんたは本当に博識だ。若いのに大したもんだよ。
どういたしまして。フルドエリカはこの程度には博識ですので。
Erika posed by picking up the hem of her skirt. She was lounging on the sofa with her feet up, so it didn't look remotely elegant.
ローザおばさんは
I can't visualize that.
午前の1時頃にお戻りになりましたが、すぐに上がられ、お休みになられました。
That was probably the right choice. She'd been going along with that conference for so long. I felt like flopping down in bed right away myself. I've had it. I'm tired enough that I might flop over right.
さあ、私たちもこれくらいにしましょう。
I feel you, Butler.
ゴーダさんも明日の朝食の準備で朝が早いのでしょう？
朝食の仕込みはすでに済んでおります。どうぞ明日の朝食も大いにご期待いただければ幸いです。
In Goda-san's eyes, the family conference is an open stage in which to display his culinary skills. He's probably so pumped up he won't even get sleepy. As she laughed at how youthful Goda was, Erika stood up. This acted as the sign that it was time to disperse.
お片付けは私の方でしておきます。どうぞ皆様はお休みを。
Leaving the cleanup to Goda-san, I went to the bathroom and then climbed the stairs to the second floor.
それでは皆さん、おやすみなさい。老骨にはちと夜更かしが過ぎましたな。
おやすみなさい。南條先生、おやすみなさい。 バトラさん。
おう。おやすみ。
Then, in the upstairs hallway, we split up. Dr. Nanjo went to his own room. Do you have any cheese? Yeah, I guess it does sound that way. Erika went to her room. And I returned to the cousin's room. I couldn't hear any sounds of playing coming from the cousin's room. Could they have already gone to sleep? No surprise at this time of night. If they were still playing, they would have been staying up way too late. When I opened the door quietly, as expected, the room was already pitch black except for a small nightlight. Everyone was already sleeping in their beds. I bet they all had a great time horsing around. They probably had a ton of fun staying up late and talking about their youth. If only I hadn't found the gold, I could have had fun spending time with them. I'm already tired. So tired. Forgetting even to change my clothes or brush my teeth. I crawled into bed and immediately started to sink into the marshes of sleep. Ah, the day's been so insane. I wonder if that old bastard is still in that family conference now. How does he not get tired? Come to think of it, what was it that old bastard said when we parted company?
明日、家族で重要な話がしたい。
There it is again.
お前に関わることだ。
I'm sure it's more stuff about being the successor. I don't even want to hear about it.
こいつを話せば、俺は殺されるだろうな。
I'll murder you whenever you want, you old bastard. And then, what was it he said next?
お前の生まれについての話だ。
My birth? Probably just something about the noble Shiromiya lineage. Not interested. Just let me sleep. And if there is, why are you going to get murdered? How does that connect? You don't know. The sound of crashing waves, the sound of the tides surging, the noise of the sea breeze. Whenever my headache torments me, these are the sounds that fill my head. My inability to bear a successor placed me in a very difficult position within the Ushiromiya family. I tried every medication that was said to promote fertility, every incense or herb, but nothing I tried had any effect. Until I was blessed with Jessica 18 years ago. I was ashamed to even call myself a wife.
子をなすのは
Hey, Bancho.
二人の努力と天の気まぐれ。そなたばかりが責められたのでは割が合わぬな。
何が原因で解任できなかったのかは今となっては分かりません。名医のもとにも通いました。屈辱的な検査も受けました。しかしいつも理由は分からないと言われるだけでした。
結婚から短くない時間を経て未だ子を宿せない。なるほどな。次期当主を密かに狙うエヴァが首をもたげぬわけもない。
Eva tried to convince father that I was a failure as a future head's wife. It was a time when Kinzo was also very disappointed in my husband's repeated business failures. On the other hand, Eva's husband Hideyoshi's business... That's such a weird way to put it. Eva's husband Hideyoshi's business was growing well, completely the opposite of my husband's business. He was the only person who could bring father good news. In that case, perhaps there could be no blame placed on father if he decided to lend an ear to Eva's words, or even accept them without question. It was all my fault because I couldn't bear a child.
そなたに罪などない。
Yeah, we've noted that in the past, I believe. Maybe even in the first episode, I forget exactly at what moment, but I have this sense of it being early in the story. Yeah. Very interesting.
この国の赤ん坊はコウノトリが運んでくるのであろうが、裁かれるならそれはコウノトリになるのが道理というものよ。
Episode 3, okay.
ありがとう。しかし、いくら当時はまだご健康とはいえ、すでにご高齢の当主様が、早く孫の顔を見たいと思われていたことは想像に難くありません。
知るか。孫が欲しくば、うなるほど持っている金で好きにすればよかろうに。金で生み出せぬものはないと豪語した金蔵だ。孫が欲しくば、自慢の金で何とかすればよいものを。
Oh god, don't give me retroactive ideas. What?
そうです。当主様は子を宿せぬ私を見限られ、その通りになされたのです。
Thinking it the duty of anyone in possession of large amounts of money, the head gave a lot to charities. One among these, the facility known as the Gospel House, had been given an especially large donation, possibly because he had old ties with that place.
ああ、福音の家か。よくあそこから家具どもがやってきていたな。
当主様は社会活動と職業訓練の一環として、福音の家の子たちの中から成績優秀な子を使用人として受け入れていました。当家にいるシャノンやカノン、ルノンやマノン、レノンなどの音の名を持つ使用人はすべてそこからやってきた子たちでした。
いろいろな連中がいたな。
No, not John Lennon, but the cat from Little Busters. That's definitely who they adopted.
多くはほんの数年で辞めるがな。
I'm kidding.
当家の給金は数年も働けば十分社会で生活していけるだけ貯まるでしょうし、後宮家での使用人経験は履歴書に通用する立派な肩書きになります。それを得て社会へ羽ばたいてくれれば、当主様もきっと本望だったでしょ
う。なるほど、養子か。
お父様、今何とおっしゃいましたか？
この赤子を我が孫として迎えよう。
Oh, wow. I mean, in theory, it does sound great. I just wonder what's lying underneath the surface. It's Umineko, it is the Ushiromiya family. It cannot be just as simple as that. It always comes with the baggage of something.
おお、よしよしよし。
Oh wow.
よしよしよしよしよし。よしよしよし。
Apparently, the baby Kumasawa was trying to soothe didn't like the air in the study at all. It kept on crying as if it hated it here.
申し訳ありません。お父様、私には何をおっしゃっているのか。
この赤子を我が孫として迎えよう。そしてクラウスの後を継ぐ者として育てるのだ。
それはつまり私と夫の子として。 とおっしゃるのですか？
そうだ。お前に子が宿せぬことはもはや明白。お前の体には何かしらの問題があるに違いない。
はあ、よしよしよしよしよし。はあ、よしよしよし。
As though she couldn't hear our discussion in the slightest, Kumasawa kept on persistently trying to cuddle the baby. This made its crying get even louder.
暴言だな。女の責任だけで子が産めるなら、この世に男など必要ないわ。
Yeah, this is so awkward.
あの日の悔しさを忘れたことはありません。私とて子が欲しくなかったわけがない。でもいくら祈ろうとも身ごもれないのです。私の体に原因があるのではないかといくつもの名医を訪ね歩きました。しかしそれでもいくら努力しても身ごもれなかったのです。
その挙句がこの仕打ちではな。察するぞ。
The baby had been picked up by the gospel house just recently. Of course, it wasn't that I didn't feel compassion for the child, who was so young and who had already lost its parents' affection. However, the pain and sadness I felt were far greater. It would have been another story if I had suffered to bear this child, but why did I have to cradle this baby, who not only shared none of my blood, but who was not related to my husband in the slightest either?
お父様を恨んではいません。もし恨めるのなら、ただただ自分の体が恨めしかった。憎かったんです。子を宿せぬ我が身がひたすらに。だから私は祈りました。
Yeah, she's been through a whole lot.
天使と悪魔の両方に。そしてその両方が叶いました。
天使には何と祈ったか。
私の体に奇跡を。私の体に問題があるというならそれを受け入れましょう。ならばそれを克服してどうか夫の子を授かることのできる奇跡を私に。
その願いは叶ったわ。あなたはその次の年に見事にジェシカを産むことになる。
そして悪魔には何と祈ったか。
悔しい悔しい、この身が恨めしい。そしてそれを見せつけるかのようなこの赤ん坊が憎かったんです。
何を願われたのですか？
私は初めて悪魔に祈りました。この赤ん坊が消えてなくなってしまえばいいのにって。
Of course, that wish was also granted by demons. On that day, I left the baby with one of the older servants and went to think about the future in the rose garden. No, that's a lie. I just wanted to clear my mind of everything. The baby's cries were aggravating, so I ordered the servant to take the baby to a place where I couldn't hear. By a place where I couldn't hear, I meant somewhere far away. Yes, I wished. I wished for the servant to take the baby far away and never return.
なるほど。雪吊りの悪魔が夏日様のその願いを聞いてしまったの。
して、どうなったのか。
それは悪魔が願いを叶えてくれたとしか思えない。
The woodland path from the rose garden to the harbor is certainly well suited for a pleasant walk. And from time to time, if the mood took you, it would undoubtedly feel good to veer off the path and take a walk through the trees. However, wouldn't that be venturing a little too far for a walk with a baby in your arms? Oh, Nancy, what did you do?
その先は断崖でした。高さは多分10メートルくらいはあったと思います。下は岩場、そこには柵もあったのです。 その使用人はわざわざそんなところまで赤ん坊を抱いたまま歩いていき、そして柵に寄りかかったとでも言うのでしょうか。まるで悪魔に手招きされて誘われたとしか思えない。
誘われちゃったのね。あなたの願いを聞いた悪魔がその使用人を招いちゃったんだわ。
それではその使用人と赤ん坊は
死にました。崖から転落して下の岩場に。いえ、私が願ったから死んだ。だからこれは
そなたのせいではない。その先を考える必要はないぞ。
でも私が願ったから。
いいや、違う。願えども叶えるか否かは神と悪魔と魔女の気まぐれ。そなたに罪はない。人間に罪はない。わらわが殺したことにしてもよい。いや、わらわが殺した。嘆くそなたを不憫に思い、わらわが赤子を連れた使用人を崖へいざない。
不幸な事故があっただけではありませんか。事故で納得がいかなくば我らの仕業に。そのための悪魔でございますよ。
そうだわ。私たちはそのためにいるのだもの。あなたが殺したわけもない。私たちが殺したのよ。だからあなたには何の罪もない。だからどうか自身を責めないで、夏日。
そうでしょうか。本当に私に罪はないのでしょうか。
ああ、ないぞ。19年前の復讐を名乗るワーコードめ。呪うならわらわを呪うがよいわ。しかし呪うは魔女の専売特許よ。
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. What Lord Wu is saying. Yep. The fact that Natsuhi is basically having this kind of conversation with herself, it just makes me sad above anything else.
夏日に嬉しその喧嘩、わらわが買おうではないか。
Yeah, it's we're outsourcing the responsibility and the blame and the sin. Yeah, it's so convenient for demons to exist. Let's just put this on their plate, not ours. We're good. We're perfect.
わらわは後ろ宮家顧問錬金術師黄金のベアトリーチェ。使えし主に売りし喧嘩はわらわが買おうぞ。19年前の復讐とな。1000年の魔女の前にその程度の年月、瞬きにも足りぬと知れ。
It was all Beato's doing. All the deaths are because of magic. Thank you so much, Golden Witch, for existing for our sins.
19年前にそなたの死を願った夏日が憎いか。思い出させてやろうぞ。そなたを崖下へ誘ったのは誰かをな。
I have a very hard time believing it was just this coincidence moment of Natsuhi being fed up with the kid and telling the servant just to take the kid away, and just somehow the servant goes not just away but into the forest, to the cliff, to the freaking edge of the cliff, and both of them fall. It's hard. As the middle-aged female servant cuddled the sobbing baby, she walked on a small path through the trees. Natsuhi had told her that the baby was too loud, so she tried to get as far from the rose garden as she could. Yeah, right? That's just... That can't be it. Cliff's man there, didn't you? Yeah, like, they're claiming so many lives. She was completely unaware as to why she'd gone out of her way to head in this direction. Was she? However, the sobbing baby suddenly stopped crying. Something was reflected in its eyes, but the servant couldn't tell what. However, thinking that the baby had stopped because it had taken an interest in something, she headed in that direction of the baby's gaze. The baby had seen a group of gold butterflies disappearing off into the trees. Sure it did. And on the other side of the trees, the servant saw a woman. Who? It was someone she didn't recognize, someone who couldn't possibly have been there. Oh no, you're severely overestimating me, this one. The baby stopped crying and stared in that direction. Then the servant's legs started to automatically carry her that way.
こちらへ来い、女。その呪われた赤子を抱いてな。
The woman couldn't disobey. She was completely overwhelmed by Beto's gold glowing eyes. She walked lightly as though through a dream world. At some point the scenery around her had changed, but she did not notice. She could not notice. Though this should have been Rokkenjima, at some point it had become the garden of a mansion she had never seen before. It was a garden she had never seen before, even grander than the great rose garden of the Ushumiya family, a garden of gold roses. There stood an arbor, and a woman wearing an elegant dress beckoning her. There was a man who looked like a butler, and the tea he poured with a beautiful gesture had a very nice and enticing smell. It was as though they were telling her to join their tea party. She couldn't disobey. She had to go to the master of this golden rose garden and give this child as an offering.
許せ、女。魔女に見入られた不運を呪え。そして、この世で決してめでることかなわぬ黄金のバラに囲まれながら眠れ。ガップ。
はい、了解。
When Gup snapped her fingers, a pitch black hole opened at the woman's feet, and she was swallowed up along with the baby. The sight that the woman and the baby witnessed in the very next moment probably burned itself into their eyes forever. The two floated in the air and looked down at the gold rose garden spread out below them. Below their feet was not the ground, but an unobstructed view of a golden rose garden which stretched as far as the eye could see. If one could have this scene imprinted in their mind as their last memory, that would be such a merciful way to die. Then the woman and the baby were swallowed up by the golden sea. The thud was remarkably plain and remarkably quiet for the sound of two lives being taken. The servant ate some mushrooms in the forest and started hallucinating golden butterflies and ended falling off the cliff with the baby. I mean, if the baby truly died, then who is calling Natsuhi and doing all these things? How do they know? Are they impersonating the baby? Are they the baby? I bet it's on Goda. Ay. The thud was remarkably plain and remarkably quiet for the sound of two lives being taken. Wow, what a phrase. However, it was a perfect fit for the entertainment at a tea party of witches. Darkness swallowed the woman and the baby, and slowly expanded to engulf the entire rose garden. The sound of the wind grew stronger bit by bit. Was that TV static? What was that noise? It's the brown tube trial. Sorry, I'm kidding. It was the roar of the sea. And then Kinzo was a zombie for talking Asian memes. The two who had died after falling from a great height into a thicket of golden roses were gradually engulfed by the roar of the sea, engulfed by the scenery of the beach below the cliff. Yeah, that's true though, so it's always that. It's a parade of brown tube trials.
そなたには何の罪もない。19年前の復讐とやらはこのわらわが買おうぞ。
Guaranteed, completely sinless. These words.
崖下の2人を見つけ、私は青ざめました。そしてお屋敷へ駆け戻り、大騒ぎになりました。大至急船で病院に運びましたが、あの高さで即死を免れただけでも奇跡。潮にも、そして赤ん坊も死にました。私はお父様から赤子を預けられ、3日も経ないうちに殺して主人は出張中でした。当時まだお屋敷にお住まいだったローザさんもご友人と旅行中でした。六軒島には私とお父様しかいなかった。そして私とお父様以外誰もよく知らぬ間にどこからともなく赤ん坊が現れ、そして消えていった。あれはそう夢なのよ、悪夢。お父様は私を責めるに違いないと思っていました。しかし何か様子がおかしかった。
No, it's just Kinzo generally.
読めていたぞ、読めていたぞ、この天罰はな。どこまであがくのか、どこまで我が物にならぬというのか。からの折に興味はない。打ち捨てい。
When father learned of the accident, he kept on laughing and laughing as though nothing could be more amusing, to the point that just listening to him disturbed me. Perhaps something had come loose in his mind. That was the day that changed him. Father shut himself up inside the world of the occult even more than he ever had before. Then when my husband came back, he was astonished to see how eccentric father had now become. However, he had already accepted that this would happen sooner or later. Of course, my husband had heard about the baby. Of course, he told me that it was surely just some whim of father's and to forget the whole episode. So I forgot it. I mean, that was 19 years prior. That was like not the inception. It cannot be the inception. It was probably started before, but like it was a point of progress in him getting crazy, I guess. But yeah, just Kinzo things, I suppose. It was an unfortunate accident, yeah. And you knew exactly where to find them. How interesting is that? You didn't know where she went. She could have gone anywhere. But you found them. Okay. I blame it on the mushroom. Just 3 days, 19 years ago, an extremely traumatic event to Natsuhi. It might really seem like just a terrible nightmare. I mean, the human mind does that, doesn't it? One of the things that happens when you go through a traumatic event is that, or you endure something that causes you terrible pain, especially if it's for an extended period of time, you will notice that when you think back at that time in your life, you have trouble remembering other things or generally what your life was. The mind does that to protect you. It shuts that thing away. Not you sleeping too much, that's my headaches. Yeah, so if the mind does that to just protect you, it makes perfect sense that, especially when it's like on such a short time frame, it can be like, oh, it was just a bad dream. What was it? It was just like a blip compared to your entire life that you have ahead of you. Just let's put that away and just keep going. In a way, it's coming from a sense of self-preservation. So I see it, I understand it. It makes me shudder. Sometimes I'm reminded of something that happened and think, oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it? Yeah. It was an unfortunate accident. Okay. Bad events we do our best to forget and move on, and as he was very very busy, you mean? Later locking Kraus on the bed? Yeah, very busy. Until Jessica was born. Yeah. If I don't know, maybe it's not this, maybe I'm wrong, but my feeling right now is that if they were murdered and died, she did it. As much as it hurts me to say it, because I like so many things about Natsuki, it's the only thing that makes sense. It's the simplest explanation. And her mind just shut it away. And basically like erased those parts and filled them back in with this idea that they must have been tempted by demons and her only sin is just thinking the bad stuff, and yeah, now she's reasoning all of that away with the whole, oh, it's the demons, it's the witches, it's not me, I am sinless. That falls into place in a logical way for me, so yeah. This is Catbox, we don't know if it's true. I don't know, I'm just saying, if this is something that I'm supposed to take as it has happened, given the interwovenness of the witches and the demons, I would say that this is the explanation for them, as much as it pains me and as much as I do like Natsuki in a lot of ways. But yeah. Okay, let's move on. Big brain me? No, there wasn't an accident at all, there it is. I forgot everything, even that the baby had existed in the first place. After all, it was a twisted nightmare which lasted not even 3 days. That's right, it was all a nightmare, see, reasoning it all away. Erasing it, pushing it far away from us where it can hurt us. Yeah. I don't want to remember any of it. The cliff, the broken fence. The broken fence! Okay. The roar of the sea and the wailing of that baby.
Soの赤ん坊が19年前の赤ん坊だと？
くだらぬ。わらわが殺した。
Sure, Beatrix.
すでにこの世にはおらぬわ。
Looks like Bato isn't the only one who has a forgotten sin. Yeah.
しかし、赤き真実なきが人間の世界。人間の世界に信用できることなどありません。
そうね。ベアトは確かに殺したわ。でも人間の世界では生きていることになっているのかもしれない。
Oh, man. Oh.
本当に生きているのかどうかはともかくね。
実は生きていたというのですか？あの高さからあの岩場に転落して。
わからぬ。だが落ち着け。そやつがどうそなたを憎もうとも、真実は事故だ。そなたを恨もうなど、お門違いもいいところよ。
Oh no, you studied assembly testing. I did that too for my first year. I forgot everything about it. I remember the concept, but I wouldn't be able to read it easily if I had it in front of my eyes again.
でもたとえ指一本触れていないとしても、私は心の中で。
落ち着け。19年前の男が何を恨もうと叫ぼうと、そなたを追求できる罪などあるわけもない。だから落ち着け。19年前の男はわらわの来客として迎えてやろうぞ。気分の謎を解かれ、お役はごめんかと思っていた矢先だ。わらわの最後の客としてもてなしてやらねばな。
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's also moving away a little bit from the joke of like, it was traumatic, that's why you forgot it. You also forget things that are not traumatic for the simple explanation that your brain cannot just hold everything in pristine, fresh condition forever and ever and ever. Because if you don't use that and then you move on to other things and other things and other things, you need to have those fresh in your mind, so the things that you haven't used, they're just gonna slowly kind of fade away, and that's what it is. You might not have the knowledge anymore, but what you do have is the experience of having learned it. So your brain has molded itself in a way that if it has to learn it again, that it will be much more efficient at it. So you haven't actually lost something. You trained your ability to learn it, and you can relearn it if you want to. So it's okay. Ah, fuck! No, leave me alone! Leave me alone! No. Better to hit the pipe in my head than change my Adobe knowledge to Umineko. I mean, yeah. It's also a matter of how much you care about the knowledge, right? If it's something that you're invested in, you will retain it for much longer and in better clarity than something that you don't. Makes sense.
面白くなってまいりましたな。ゴールドスミス教の秘密を守るのに加え、19人目の来客、さらに19年前の男とは。
そうね。金蔵が生きてると主張する私たちにとって、エリカは19人目ね。その19人目の駒に19年前の男。
Or a man who just claims that, but we don't know that he actually is.
面白いじゃない。ワクワクするわ。
Yeah, 19 everywhere. 19 years, 19 people, 9, yeah.
相手にとって不足なし。わらわの茶会の来客が一人では物足りないと思っていたところよ。来るがよい、愚か者どもめ。
Furudo Erika is Lady Burncastle's piece. In that case, whose piece is the man from 19 years ago? The voice, which could be faintly overheard through the receiver, was Natsuhi's.
わかりました。今すぐ出ます。部屋も出ます。電話も出ます。だから夫と娘には。
When heard through a receiver, even these begging screams, which would have shaken the heart of anyone who heard them, could be listened to with a heart of ice.
母さんが俺の約束を守る限り、あんたの秘密は守ってやるよ。約束を破るなよ。俺はもうお前のすぐ近くにいる。部屋の明かりが消えるかどうか、そして電話をしているかどうかさえ、俺さえ望むなら、あんたの寝顔にキスすることだってできるんだからね。
守ります。約束は守ります。だからやめて、もうやめて、やめて。
The receiver was set down violently. He knew very well how bad an aftertaste you could leave for the other side just by the way you hung up the phone.
じゃあね、おやすみ、母さん。
はい、一丁上がり。
The voice for Lambda Delta was a talented man. Yeah.
これで夏日は今夜は部屋から出てこないわ。
器用ね。あんた、声を変えられるの？
声くらい誰だって変えられるわよ。パパにおねだりの時は甘い声。学校休む時は風邪っぽい声。実は嫌いな友達に断る時は申し訳なさそうな声。
I'm not sure where this stands in terms of the game itself. Because you have Lambda, who is not a piece or a character participating actively in the game, somehow interfering in the game just by being a voice on the phone and interacting with the pieces and the characters. What does that make it? Like, where does it stand? I know she is the game master, but it's so weird. Yeah, GG Lambda.
お望みなら？
どんな声でも
使うわけて。
見せるけど。
あんた、魔女やめたら声優になるといいわ。
これでお互い駒の準備は OK かしら？フルドエリカ、なかなか素敵な駒じゃない。演者なんかよりはるかにベルにふさわしい駒だわ。
Of course she is.
お褒めに預かりまして光栄です。ラブダデルタ卿。こちらこそよろしくよ。素敵だわ。本当に可愛い。魔女幻想に屈服させて、その顔を屈辱に歪めてやりたいわ。
だそうよ。私に恥をかかせないでよね。演者よりはるかに使える駒だってことを見せてちょうだい。
There is no such thing. Yeah, like, where does it stand? Because this character that she made up is not really fully a character. It's not an actual piece, but it gets to interact with the pieces and affect what's happening on the board. It's not my MC NJ. Nah, NJ is the best. Nobody can rise to her level. No matter how much Erika pats her on back, she will never ever get anywhere near. I'm not even asking if it's according to the rules necessarily. I just... What kind of concept should I wrap my head around there? Like, because... I mean, there's a lot of things in this episode that are different from before. Even though it was quite difficult to follow maybe sometimes because the story kept going from this meta world level whatever where they are talking about the game, then to the game, back to them. They have like their own versions of like either the meta version of the, you know, the player version of them and the piece version of them, right? So somehow you could get a little bit you could get to your paths crossed in your mind trying to think about it, right? So it's not incredibly easy to explain or differentiate there either. But now we have things working in ways that didn't happen before. Like the peace teacher that is in the game is aware of the meta level and she comments on it. What does that mean? Right, okay, we have Burns self-insert, but at least this is a full-fledged character that counts as a human, as one person that is an extra on the island, okay? I can try to work with that, it's a little bit more concrete, but the thing that Lambda is doing with the voice on the phone is just... Okay, what is that? Yeah. Burn Battler Lambda Nazi. Disembodied voice, secret character, other... It was the 20th person. The one thing that I feel would make sense to me to explain it would be that one of the other characters would be doing that to Natsuhi and pretending. That would be the one thing that would settle it more easily for me. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is a bit confusing. Okay, maybe I'm using the wrong words. Maybe things have happened before, but I wasn't aware of them. And now I have to contend with the idea that this is something that you can do in the game. I don't know. I don't know which. You also have to think about, okay, who put the letter in the place. You have to think about those people were there. Natsuhi was there. Kraus, Genji, and whoever else was there. That was not in the room. Anyway, I don't know. You like the smell of what I'm cooking so far? Pfft. I'm not really seeing an end to the cooking though. I'm just struggling to read the recipe right now. But okay, fine. It was just a thought of like, okay, where does this... What kind of concept is this in the terms of how the game is played? Where does it stand? Because it's kind of like in between the world of the game and this meta world. Better chain cooking books, but they're so confusing. If you would know, there would be no mystery, right? Yeah. If it's actually the baby, ugh. It's very hard right now because all that we know from Natsuhi's perspective, which we have seen to be so all over the place. And I'm doing my best to pick out the parts that feel a little bit saner and kind of weave them together in a way that makes sense and that I would feel comfortable with in terms of, yeah, this is a plot that more or less can fall into place like this, has the potential for it. I don't really... I have this instinctive rejection towards plots that are like too soap opera, like, oh, we thought he died, but actually he survived, and blah blah blah. Like, that's a little bit let's assume the baby let's assume the stuff happened, right? And the baby survived somehow. How did it survive? After falling off a cliff, when the only people who were supposed to be on the island were Kinzo and Natsuhi. Who picked up the baby? How? Did they hide them away? Huh? It's just, it leads to so much. I would have to contort my mind in a very weird way to kind of like make that happen and then bring it back to the point where this person grows up and finds out all of this information and knows so much about Natsuhi and decides to just come back 19 years after and torture her. It's just too far out there for me right now. That's why I'm just kind of not into it. Unreliable narration in my Umineko. Yeah, and this is just all solely based on like very distinct pieces of information that I just heard right now, right? I don't know. There's connections with other things that were mentioned before and I'd forgotten. Maybe that would change things and just, yeah. Anyway. The servant was fat, like very fat. So fat that the baby bounced in the ocean and lived alone in the forest waiting for revenge. Yes, it was raised by the wolves in the forest. Reading Umineko answer arcs for answers, proceeds to find questions. I know, you warned me that there would be questions and not that many answers, at least in the beginning, and I am approaching them with... I hope, I mean, I'm trying to be prudent. Yeah, anyway, these are just my feelings on the spot, okay?
Omakase o. Berun Castello Kyo, waga aruji.
Maybe the Lennon cat from the Busters found the baby. Okay, as long as it's just for fun, it's fine.
私はあのようなネクラで低能で可愛げのかけらもない駒とは違います。
I mean, there's always potential for something unexpected to come and be like, oh, this is it. And I would have to be like, oh, okay, well, if this has been established that it's it, then I have to roll with it. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna deny it. Just like, for instance, Kinzo being dead. But for me, it was quite out there to imagine that. Because I would have to go through the motions of like, okay, and how did they decide to hide that? And for how long did they do it? To me, it came as a complete surprise that it's been going on for this long. Like, the first time they showed Kinzo being burnt and putting out this theory that, oh, he was burnt probably to hide away the moment of death, I thought that, oh, okay, maybe something happened just a few days prior or a week prior to the conference or something, you know? Not a full year. Like, I wouldn't have... It would have been very difficult for me at the time to accept that, and yet here we are, and we have been shown all of the emotions that it actually went through, and where they're coming from, and how the whole situation escalated to this point, and I'm like, okay, people. Fine, I have to contend with that, but I wouldn't have come up with it, and yeah, it would have been very difficult for me to accept it before seeing all of these things, and now I'm like, okay, I guess I see it. I'm not very happy about it, but what can we do? I'm missing all the hints. This is what I've been told from day one that I've been reading this novel. How many words, how many sentences have I read thus far? It's just so much of everything. I cannot absorb everything and fully thread it together. You're seeing the hints because you know you're there. They're there. You know what it is. You have the clarity of hindsight. I don't have it. And I think it's fine for me not to have it. I'm just here to sit down and read this, not to prove anything or to be this eminent detective or whatever. I'm not. I've stated from the beginning that I am not, and you will very likely not find that. If by serendipity something happens and I piece something together, it's gonna be like, oh wow, I did that, great, fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen, and that's it. I'm not gonna force it. Yeah, let's just keep reading, okay?
ほんとよね。エンジェなんてクズ肉になってバトラを焚きつける以外何の役にも立たなかったわ。
I'm biting my tongue. I'm biting my
家族愛と
tongue.
か兄弟愛とか私たちは全然興味ないの。私たちが見たいゲームはもっとえぐくてドロドロしててグロテスクでポップでキュートな殺人事件だもの。
夏日がキングでベアトがクイーンってとこかしら。夏日をかばって群がる魔女と家具たちはチェスの駒というよりは
ボーリングのピーって感じ。夏日にベアと金蔵にガラクタ家具の幻想たち、私たちを楽しませてみせなさいよね。特にベアと私たちもうあんたには飽きてるの。あんたの魔女伝説殺人ごっこはもうおしまい。あんたの出番もおしまいってわけ。このゲーム版はもう私とベルンがいただいたわ。あんたなんて私たちの駒に落ちぶれて永遠に遊ばれてるのがお似合いよ。
夏日もベアトも薄汚い真実という腹綿を薄皮一枚で包んだだけのズタ袋だわ。それをズタズタに引き裂いて中身を引きずり出すことこそ私の、いいえ、私たちの数少ない娯楽なの。
ええ、楽しく遊べるわよ。ねえ見てる？ベアトリーチェ、あんたのゲーム版はこんなにも楽しく遊べるのよ。私が見せてあげるわ。本当に楽しい第5のゲームをね。
私たちばっかり気持ちよく喋っちゃかわいそうだわ。
The way Burn is here is creeping me out, but I mean, what can you do? Maybe she was just holding back before and now she's having the time of her life. I can't help it.
ベアトにも喋らせてあげたら？
だそうよ。特別に発言を許すわ。今回のゲームの抱負でも言っちゃったら？何もないって。そうよねそうよね。あんたバトルに屈しちゃった負け犬だもんね。私に任せなさい。魔女側優勢に一気に流れを変えてあげるから。ただあんたという駒はサクリファイスさせてもらっちゃうけどね。
非分も第一の番以前にあっさり解かれ、黄金の番人ベアトリーチェも型なしですね。
夏日の幻想として駒に残れてよかったじゃない。まあもうあんたの扱いは駒じゃなくてピンなんだけどね。
黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェなんてもう出番はないのよ。あんたとその家具たちは私のゲームではほんのちょい役やられ役。気持ちよーくすっ飛ばされて私とベルのおもちゃにされなさいよ。
嫌ならやめてって一言言ってみて。そしたらやめてあげるから。
Such is the way of the witches, I guess.
あんたピン確定ね。
There's no need for a golden witch anymore. All that's needed is a sacrificial doll so that we two witches can enjoy some time playing. Die, disappear. Confess to your filthy past and your crimes. Pour out your sob story of regret and repentance so you throw yourself off a cliff and die. There will be no more appearances for the golden witch. This will be a most horrible game. On the surface it does look very similar to the usual tales, however there is no respect given to the true main characters of this tale. This is supposed to be the tale to which the Golden Witch Beatrice invited Oshiromiya Battler. So sad. However, the host has been lost, and there is no longer a guest. With both inviter and invitee now gone, only the worst kind of tale remains. Welcome to the 5th game. End of the Golden Witch. Welcome to a party with neither host nor guests, hijacked by wicked witches.
いいバトラー。いよいよ2日目を始めるわよ。私はベアトみたいにとろい展開は嫌いなんだから。
好きにしやがれ。お前が何をかき回そうと、俺は必ずこのゲームの真相にたどり着いてやる。
そうでなくては困ります。妹さんのためにもしっかり戦わなくちゃ。ご安心を。ラムダデルタ卿はベアトリーチェの間抜けと違い、はるかに恐ろしい相手ですが、私がしっかりサポートするので問題ありません。私と一緒に今度こそ魔女幻想を暴いてやろうではありませんか。
お前なんか知らねえ。ベアとのゲームにいなかった存在など俺は認めもしないし必要ともしない。
Shouldn't support. I see, Chitorin.
強がり言ってる場合ですか。まあお互いせいぜい頑張りましょう。一緒に魔女幻想とやらを引き裂いてやりましょう。
Erika brazenly put her hand out for me to shake. Instead of just passively ignoring this, I gave her an active and clear answer by knocking her hand aside.
握手は嫌いだそうよ。エンジェと同じなのね。
ご安心を。私はエンジェよりはるかに役立つ駒ですので、バトラさんの闘志を回復する以外何もできなかったひき肉とはわけが違います。
Yeah, your definition of useful and our definition of useful, they do not see eye to eye, so you can't continue. You continue doing your thing, and I continue doing my thing. This music makes me... It's obviously not the same, but it has a little bit in it that makes me think of the Moonlight Sonata, which is one of my favorite pieces of music, and it also starts more or less with the same kind of gloomy feeling. Yeah. It probably has some chords in there. I don't know enough about music to explain exactly what it is, but it has something in there that sounds like it.
頼もしそうな仲間に恵まれて嬉しいわね。かつてはワルギリアにロの上、エンジまで来てくれたわ。そしてとうとうベルにエリカまで。あんたを応援してくれるクマたちはこんなにもたくさん。それでも未だに真相の尻尾すらつかめない無能っぷりってどんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？
関係ねえな。これは俺とベアとの戦いだ。その他の誰であろうと関係ねえ。
ああ、そうなの。やっと独り立ち？いっつも誰かに助けられ情けをかけられてばかりのあんたがどこまで一人でできるやら。楽しませてもらうわ。
取り戻すぜ。これは俺たちのゲームだ。お前たちはお呼びじゃね
え。はい。ええ、そうよね。これはあなたたちのゲームだわ。なら取り戻してごらんなさいよ。手加減だらけだったベアとのゲームさえ勝てなかったあんたが、誰の助けもなく一切の容赦のないラムダのゲームをどこまで戦えるのか。
Battler being Battler. Battler being Battler is so cool. Yes, please keep being Battler. Don't let yourself get worn down by them, and do not accept any label of incompetency, no matter how much red truth is used to say it.
ではお目覚めなさい、後ろ宮バトラー。ようこそ10月5日の朝へ。
おいおいおい。Morning of tragedy. There we go. Was it someone's alarm clock? A repetitive electronic beeping noise filled the room. No, surely nothing happens now. It's all chill. The rain stops. The sun shines through the clouds. The roses are nice and fresh and fragrant and colorful. And the seagulls cry. And everything is fine. Now, I started late, so I'm gonna keep going for like 15 more minutes or something. Something like that. Right, so Battler, who had gone to bed late and hadn't had anywhere near enough sleep yet, covered his head in his blanket and waited for someone to turn off the alarm. But no matter how much time passed, the beeping didn't stop. I see. The point of an alarm clock isn't just to be loud enough to wake you, but to be annoying enough to keep you from wanting to fall back asleep. Hey, guys, the alarm's going off. Make it stop, please. Why do we always sound so annoyed when first waking up? Well, it does make sense. After all, we're still sleepy and in a bad mood. Yes. Aye. However, there was absolutely no sign that my annoyed voice had caused anyone to turn over in their sleep, much less crawl out of bed to stop the alarm. Letting out a deep sigh, I flung the covers off me and got up. With the shutters down on the windows, there was almost no light getting in, and the room was as dim as it had been earlier. Though even if the shutters hadn't been down, there's no way that this dull weather would have let in enough sun to make this a pleasant morning. My cousins were still wrapped up in their beds, sound asleep and taking no notice whatsoever of that beeping. Normally, once any one person gets up, the others tend to automatically follow. Annoyed that the law of consecutive summer camp awakenings that I'd come up with had just been broken, I drowsily searched for the source of the sound. Oh my god, guys. I could hear it coming from a wristwatch set on the table. Judging by the style of the watch, it was probably George Aniki's. Taking a random guess, I pushed a small button on the side of it and the sound stopped. Apparently it had been set for 7 in the morning. Is it already 7? Sorry, but I really don't feel like I slept at all. Playing cards had been left on the table as though they had stopped mid-game. The game looked like 7s. Damn it, I've got a piercing headache. What the hell was all that last night? The mountain of gold and the subsequent argument between our parents, it all feels like a bad dream. Breakfast normally starts at 8. Now isn't a bad time to start getting up and getting dressed. The adults probably won't argue in front of us cousins. What makes you draw that conclusion? They were plenty capable of doing that yesterday. So, in that case, I think I'll stay with my cousins all day long. I'm sure they will be able to keep me away from all that annoying talk about the gold and being the successor and all. In fact, I should have done that in the first place. Oh, don't worry, most of them are probably dead already, so they will not do that. There is a silver lining, I suppose. I slept with my clothes on last night too, so I'm drenched in sweat. Gross. I guess I'll take a shower. I'm sure the others want to too. At this age, it's embarrassing to wake them by shaking their shoulders. If I turn the TV on, everyone will probably wake up. Well, let's at least turn the lights on for now. In this dim light with the quiet sound of the continuing wind and rain, it really doesn't feel like morning's come yet. I flipped the light switch, and then the dimly lit morning ended. Wait, what? Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Georgie! あんまりやないか。こんなマネがどうして許されるんや。
As they clung to Aniki's corpse, knowing that he would never wake up again, Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi cried. Wait, I need to allow this, sorry. Automod is kind of sensitive to words like that. The fun stuffs! Yay! Right.
もうおよしなさい。ジョージ君がこんな姿をお二人に見せたいと思いますか。思うわけがない。
姉貴、気持ちはわかるが、今は南條先生に任せるんだ。
あんたにはわかんないわよ。ジョージが殺されたのよ。ジョージ！ジョージ！
南條先生の言う通りや。ジョージのこんな無体な姿をいつまでも見ていたらあかん。ジョージのために今は耐えるんや。
When Auntie Eva tried even harder to cling to that corpse, Dad and Uncle Hideyoshi dragged her away and had a heated debate with her beside the wall.
いやよ！いや！ジョージ！南條先生、手当てをして！血が足りないなら輸血を！私とジョージは同じ血液型です！だからお願い！南條先生！
エヴァさん、お気の毒だが、今のジョージ君に必要なのはあなたの血ではないのです。
Dr. Nanjo shook his head slightly, then nodded across to where I stood. I softly pulled the blanket up and covered George Aniki's body. His throat had been split wide open. The wound was probably larger and deeper than his mouth. Did it look like a clean, neat corpse now that his neck was at least covered? Of course not. The large amount of blood that had spilled from the wound stained the bed a horrible dark red, and even covering him with the blanket couldn't hide the blood that had poured out. After all, there were large dark red stains on the blanket too, so that even once he was covered with it, the gruesomeness of the body was still being thrust in our faces. So I stripped the blankets off my bed and placed one on top. But I only had 2 blankets, and there were more corpses, let me guess. So if I covered just one more body, I wouldn't be able to cover anymore. Feeling pity for the ones I couldn't cover. For some reason, in spite of the situation, I muttered, "Don't complain about not getting the same as everyone else," beside my head.
キリエ、みんなに毛布をかけてやれ。風邪をひいちまう。
Kiria-san and I covered the other bodies with their blankets in the same way as George Aniki's, so that they wouldn't have to suffer the indignity of having their terrible wounds exposed like this anymore. In one bed rested Jessica. Jessica was exactly the same as George Aniki. Though she appeared to be resting quietly in the bed, her throat had been sliced deep and the wound lay open in a brutal way. And Maria was the same. Not only Maria, there was one more victim. Was Rosa there too? Lying on the same bed, sleeping alongside her, was Auntie Rosa. George Aniki, Jessica, Maria, and Auntie Rosa. In this room were 4 people who had been killed, their throats sliced open. They'd probably been like that since last night. And I came back to the room completely ignorant, snuggled under the covers and fell asleep right next to them. All of them had a horizontal cut across their throats. I had been forced to see all the way into the depths of those gashes in everyone's throat. Those cuts might even have reached as far as halfway into their necks. If you tried to open one up, you'd probably be able to see the gash reached all the way to the bone. Why would we want that? We wouldn't. I wouldn't want that. Fine. The only ones were the single gash on each neck. So if you just covered their necks with your hand, you might be able to persuade yourself that they were merely sleeping. But even so, this frighteningly deep wound was incredibly gruesome. There's no such thing as clean or dirty ways of killing. All methods of killing are equally brutal, but even so, this was incredibly brutal. And there was one more thing which adorned these brutal murders to make them even more unsettling. Oh no, what even is it? Ah, yeah, the circle, okay. Drawn very large on the wall was something like an eerie magic circle. It was drawn in a bright red paint which looked like blood, making it look as though some disturbing ritual had taken place in this room, with the 4 of them offered as human sacrifices. I mean, I'm trying to recover things, but generally the kids ended up being pushed further down. Like, yeah. But hey, it's not Beatrice the Game Master, right? So they are doing a lot of things that Beatrice wouldn't do. Not that she couldn't do, she had chosen not to do it in that way. But they don't have the same restrictions, so they just do it. Yeah, but this is completely different than suffocation marks. Ah, because Maria can't interpret the circles anymore. Good point. Right. However, none of us were paying it any attention. No one has a heart so cold that they could witness the deaths of those close to them and still worry about some graffiti on the wall.
おはようございます、皆さん。おや、これは立派な魔法陣で。
Ah, no, wait, we have her. She probably knows everything about it. Yeah. The girl who bragged that she drew more pleasure from the process of exposing the truth than from the truth itself, and who went so far as to call herself an intellectual rapist, appeared in the hall. When she saw the extraordinarily creepy magic circle in this gruesome room, I heard what was unmistakably a sigh of admiration escape her lips. Medisuerica knows everything.
お前は入ってくるんじゃね
え。さっきから廊下で話を聞かせてもらっています。お亡くなりになられたのは4人ですか？
She's so incredibly calm about it.
心よりお悔やみを申し上げます。
On Erika's face, no, that's not it. It was in her eyes. In Erika's eyes, I could see a shameless smile that was hard to describe. She found this entertaining. She found the outbreak of a crime entertaining. It was like the smile of a kid waiting in the wings at a school play, moments before she was due to come on stage.
すまねえな、エリカちゃん。取り込み中だ。部屋で待っててくれるか。
そういうわけには参りません。現場検証は探偵の権利ですので。
お前に用はないと言ってんだぜ。部外者はおとなしく引っ込んでろ。
現場検証を妨害する容疑者が犯人であるミステリーが三流というのが私の持論ですが。
お前の都合など知るか。出ていけ。お前なんかお呼びじゃね
え。エリカちゃん、ほんまにすまんが部屋に戻っててくれんか。今は取り込み中なんや。
ジョージジョージ
どいてください。現場検証できません。
もしそれが必要なら俺たちがするし、警察がする。お前にみんなの亡骸をさらに恥ずかしめる権利なんかあるわけがねえ。
探偵権限。探偵は全ての現場を検証する権利を持つ。そこをどきなさい。後宮バトラ。
I am the main character now. Oh my god. Yeah, see, it like the self-insert peace character now is using red truths. And it's Byrne's self-insert who is supposed to be there because she wants to expose what's happening. But she's using red truths. Oh. Okay. Yeah, exactly. See? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I don't know anymore.
これは人間側に認められたゲームの正当な権利よ。
Those words, which seemed to be utterly ridiculous at first, were words of power that had come from a world much higher than theirs. Battler was thrown back by an unseen power and landed on his butt. Struck silent by Erika's quiet intensity and the bizarre, suffocating atmosphere, nobody was able to prevent her from entering the room.
ご安心を。死者の尊厳を侵すことが目的ではありませんので、別に喉の切り口なんておぞましいもの。私が知りたいのはもっと別のことです。つまりこの殺人を誰が行ったかです。南條先生、それから皆さん、特に第一発見者のバトラさん、いろいろとお尋ねしたいことがありますのでご協力をお願いします。
だから何の権限があってだよ。
私が探偵だからよ。
Battler could argue against this incomprehensible nonsense. No, he wasn't permitted to argue. It was a restriction placed on pieces. Erika summoned Dr. Nanjo and got him to tell her in detail about his preliminary findings. Normally, he wouldn't have spoken of that to an outsider so casually. However, for some reason, the atmosphere about the place had begun to make it feel as though nothing should be hidden from Erika.
さて、ラムダの第一の晩、楽しませてもらおうかしら。
Enjoy. What a word.
死体は4つ ?2 つ足りないわ。まあ、6人殺す義務もないわけだけど、そういう遊びだしね。あの子、空気読める子だから、あと2人もどこかで殺してるに違いないわ。
There's a magic circle on the wall representing the first twilight, similar to the ones in Battles games. That girl talks big, but I wonder just how closely she can imitate Battle. Yeah. I don't know if I should feel happy about that. Your Hebrew sure is scrappy, Lambda. Okay. You got this part slightly wrong.
何これ？どういうこと？どうして魔法陣が？きっとベアトリーチェ様の真似がしたかったのよ。あは、へったくそな魔法陣。
真似どころじゃないわよ。人間の誰かがベアトリーチェ様の仕業に見せかけるためにわざわざ書いたんだわ。とにかくベアトリーチェ様に報告を。
ゴールドスミスの秘密を守る仕事だけでもお腹いっぱいなのに、迷惑な話ね。でも全然美しくない殺人だわ。別に密室でもないし不可能犯罪でもない。こんな無様な殺人、ベアトリーチェ様に全然ふさわしくないわ。
フルドエリカか。予期せぬ事件に予期せぬ女、そして19年前の予期せぬ男。碑文はバトラーに解かれるし、今回のゲームは普段とまるで違うわ。何がどうなってる
の？ Nobody knows. You're voicing all of our questions.
行くわよ。
はい、お姉様。
All right. This feels like a good place to make a save. We'll leave it there. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah. Goda is bountifully preparing breakfast. Yes, yes. Ay, ay, ay. Saved, yeah? Alright, that was something. At least we got to see Goda. Yeah, at least we ended on a bit of a, you know, fun song and Goda smiling in the midst of everything else. It's the best we could have hoped for. I don't know. It opens up a lot of other avenues to explore and think about and try to understand. It's okay. It's feels that maybe it is moving in that direction, but there's still a long way ahead. Yeah, kind of, that's how it feels right now. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't think I was expecting much. Just like, okay, it's the morning after. Some people are gonna be killed. I really did not expect that it would be the case that Battler just walks into the scene of the crime and sleeps next to it. That kind of took me... I don't know. It gave me a bad feeling in my stomach to have like all the kids except Battler gone from the beginning. I feel like they made the story much more fun and enjoyable to have them there. Now it's just gonna be all of the annoying adults. Or most of them, at least. Anyways, we will see. Nothing about this has been how we've been, I guess, accustomed to think about it before. And I guess that's on purpose, right? To shake things up and put you in the position to ask certain questions and maybe even get answers to, I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't take away from the shock of it. I guess no matter how much I brace myself, these scenes will never be easy. Yeah. Yeah. And for the first time in a long time, it's not a locked room. It's not a question of the murderer couldn't have entered or something. If anything, it's very easy to point at Battler and be like, yo, dude. You know? Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Not a locked room, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We roll with the punches and see where it goes. Can't really say much else right now. Yeah. And for now, we sleep, but not next to dead bodies. Proper restful sleep. Yeah. So wonderful, so perfect. She knows everything. Great. Yeah. All right. Thanks again for joining me. You guys are super fun. Oh, excuse me. Great. I thought I had closed that, but okay. Anyway, weird notifications. It's fine. You mean you wouldn't care, Bear? Is that what you're trying to say? She burns double of her. She knows everything. Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't. Okay. No. I'm also tired, and I wasn't sure if I read that correctly. Yeah, I'll try to see how much I could gain from this. But also I'll do my best to not get lost along the way, you know, to not get in a situation where I can't see the forest for the trees. I'm doing my best, okay? I'm hanging in there. Make no promises, but inside my heart of hearts and in my mind, I haven't given up, even though maybe I'm not vocalizing everything. Let's just put it that way. We'll see. But most of all, for me, maybe it's worth articulating this and saying it out loud again. My main goal is to just sit here for a couple hours, these 2 days a week, and just have fun reading this beside you. That is my main goal. If anything else happens in addition to that, is just cherry on the cake. But it's not necessary, at least not to me. So I hope if it doesn't happen, if there's no like big revelation moment for me, I hope I will not cause that to be disappointment for you. Yeah. Anyways, late night, sleepy time. I'm really tired. How long have I been awake? I have been awake for 18 hours. Yeah, I'm gonna go sleep. I mean, sure, you can fish for the cherries. I'm not gonna stop you. But yeah, they might be there, they might not be there. I can't guarantee. Right, take care. Have a good night or a good end to your day, wherever you are, and also a good end to your week. Relax, take care, eat good stuff. Take some vitamins. It's gotten really cold outside. Hydrate, do all the healthy things. And I hope to see you again in high spirits on Tuesday. Take care. Love you. Good night.